Most people ask, do they love me? Or are they loyal? And yes, really important questions to ask. We should ask those questions. But before you choose someone to stand beside you for life, you need to start asking something much deeper. What have they survived? Because when life gets real, and it will, what they've already endured says everything about what they'll be able to handle with you whenever it matters most. See, here's why that question matters so much. Because the version of your partner you're experiencing right now, that's the version that's built in comfort. But who are they under pressure? When everything falls apart, do they show up or do they shut down on you? Right? Do they know how to show up whenever you need them to? Do they know how to have resilience and stick it out and last in things, right? See, I made a video just recently on, you got to learn and see if your partner's going to be able to be there to support you when it matters most, right? When you're going through your toughest times or you're going through something with them, right? But even on a more broad spectrum, you need to know whenever life just gets real, because life's going to get real at some point and it starts smack you in the face. Is your partner going to be built to go take the blows with you and fight back? Or are they going to check out? Do they self-reflect or self-protect? This isn't about trauma bonding. It's about emotional durability. You're not just dating a person, you're dating their past, their coping skills, their ability to weather a storm. So you better know and learn, have they weathered a storm before to know that they can do it going forward? See, you don't need to know if your partner can handle any version of a challenge, right? All the challenges out there, because you don't know what's to come. But you do need to know the caliber of challenge they faced in their life to this point to know if they have the skill set and if that skill set has gotten the practice to get out there in the field and have to put those skills to the test against something caliber worthy of the challenges you may face that could break you, that could knock you down a notch or two. You need to learn that. See, here are the real things you need to be looking for and the real questions you need to be asking yourself before you commit. Things like, have they ever lost something really important and bounced back? Have you learned that about them through getting to know them and their story of their life and different things? Do they take accountability for their role in hard seasons? Meaning, do they take any ownership for the difficulties and the biggest challenges they faced in life, or do they always push off the responsibility on someone else or circumstance? Can they sit in discomfort without trying to escape all the time? Are they able to find a calm, or even though it's not fun and pleasant, but they're willing to stick in there and have grit to work through the difficult moments and the difficult things? Or do they become squirmy and they got to do anything but stay in that moment? They got to flee, run around, and, say they'll come back to it, but never really do. Or, they just have no muscle built up to handle friction. Do they know how to regulate themselves when things are not going their way? Right? Does the house come tumbling down whenever things are not harmonious the way they see it should be, or things are not going the way they see it as the reality should be operating as? Because look, I'll tell you right now, if you're only cool, calm, and collected whenever things are going as planned, you're not prepared for life at all. Because whenever life takes that turn and gives you that lesson that's trying to help you learn, right, which requires discomfort, which requires stretching your growth levels so you can get to a new level of growth. If you fall apart and fall to pieces whenever it's time to dig in and say, what do I need to learn here? What do I need to do to level up? And instead you shut down. Oh, it's going to be a rough ride if that's the kind of partner you have to ride with. These aren't just signs of maturity. They're signs of someone who won't bail the moment the fairy tale ends, right? You need someone that is built to stick in there because they've stuck in there before at some point in their life, notably, right? Something that can measure up to the challenges you may face. Again, different strokes, different folks. People experience different levels of challenge, and people have different levels of grit to handle that challenge. But by whatever your calculations are, if they haven't gone through something real enough, then it should raise caution for you, right? You need to know that because it's in those moments where someone unintentionally will bail on you. Not because that's what they want to do or because they just want to quit, but because they're not built to be there. So their nervous system and their subconscious and everything is screaming at them, get away from this because we don't know what to do with this. It's a survival, self-protective thing, right? It's not personally against you, but in the moment it may feel that way, and even the optics and the things they say and the things they're doing may feel like it's targeted at you, or to be against you or throw you away or abandon you and all those things. But it's really them just trying to self-preserve themselves and trying to survive and make it to another day because this is overload for their system. They're not prepared for this. Life has not prepared them for this just yet. Or maybe they haven't leaned into life enough to get the experiences to prepare them for this yet. And the risk of overlooking something like this is catastrophic. Because if your partner's never truly faced something hard, no matter how much they love you with every fiber in their body, right? Love is not going to be enough whenever they lack resilience. Because when you break, when the relationship's at its lowest point for whatever reason, right? Whether it's a internal thing you two are dealing with between each other, you're having your own struggle, or you guys are both facing a big challenge externally, right? When patience, when forgiveness or effort are needed the most, they won't know how to stand in that fire with you. And notice I said they won't know how. Not that they don't want to, but they won't know. Know is a byproduct of doing, embodiment. I've been there. I've done the things. I know what I'm doing. I know better. I do better. They may understand better, but whenever the smoke is real and the fire is going off and the bomb explodes and all the things and everything's chaotic, you're going to lean back on your survival mode in which you know. And you can't know something you haven't done. You may understand how it works and the idea of it and all the things, but the chances of you following through on what you understand versus what you know are very, very different. Slim to none, oftentimes, whenever it's danger in front of you or something that can be really painful, emotionally or physically or mentally. Then if that moment comes, that's when you'll realize I've chosen someone that's built for sunshine, but not also built for storms. And that's a hard reality to face and wrap your mind around when you're in the middle of it. Because that's the moment you'll feel abandoned or betrayed the most, right? Naturally, as a human being, you're going to feel like you're left on that island or whatever the case is, especially if that situation ends up in you being left, right? That's even worse if it comes to be that for whatever reason. But the point is, there would be no other time in life where you feel like you're on more of an island by yourself when you have someone standing right next to you than that kind of moment when you anchor in with someone that wasn't built to be there through all the moments and times, not just the better ones or the slightly inconvenient ones, but the ones that are toughest to keep looking at and keep walking through it. And look, take this message from me personally. I've spoken before about one of my relationships I had where I was left suddenly after 3 years, right, of being with someone. And, she walked away because she didn't feel safe or reassured and secure when we were going in direction wise, right? Now, the way she went about doing it, I didn't find to be so healthy or proper in the communication of it all, right? There wasn't much conversation beforehand to let me know she was even in that kind of a space. Right. And so that I didn't appreciate so much and think that was so right. But I take full ownership of my end for who I was back then as a man and not understanding what it meant to lead in a relationship. I lost track of making sure she felt secure. One of my first, obligations and roles as a leader in my relationship and in my home. Right. That was on me. But it was also on me to choose a partner that hadn't gone through certain trials and tribulations prior, so that whenever a situation did get difficult like ours did, because we were trying to do a business and all these other things and it wasn't working so well, where yes, it was on me for not checking in and make sure she was good and all those things, it was also on me for not being aware that I chose to go into this entrepreneur's journey with someone that hadn't faced challenges of that magnitude. So of course, whenever it got to be tough enough, hey, she checked out. That was well past her comfort zone, right? I can't knock her for that. That's who she was at that point. That's where her journey led her to that point, right? So that's on me for overlooking that, right? That was an oversight on my part. And if I had just paid a little bit of attention to what I knew about her journey, I could have seen from a mile away, yeah, this wasn't a comfortable space for her to be in and go down that road, even though we both wanted to go do this business thing, right? But I should have been more aware of what I understood and asked better questions and looked out for more things, right? So most that might be unhealthy will look at that circumstance and say, oh no, she just bailed on me. She just left me, right? She just quit on me, whatever, just threw me to the curb. And when I put all the sacrifice and trying to do this for us and all this other stuff, right? That's the unhealed mind. But whenever you get to a space of self-mastery and you get to a space of, ownership of the hard times you go through and the results you get, that's when you build that strength and you get the learning lessons from it. So I hold nothing ill-willed or feel any sense of being upset or angry towards her to this day, right? It's one of the best experiences I had in my life, to me, leveling up as a man and learning a new lesson I hadn't seen at that time, right? But my point is, taken from me, you want to ask these questions, you want to dig in, you want to know, what have you been through that lets me know you can go through whatever we may endure whenever we endure it. So before you give your heart fully to anyone, don't just ask what they want in a relationship. Ask what they've been through in life, what they've healed from, how they show up under pressure, if they've grown from their pain or still run from it. Because if they've never had to fight for something that really matters, they may not know how to fight for you when you really need them to. If you need help cultivating the tools and the skills in yourself to vet partners, to make sure that you're locking in with someone that actually can go the mile with you and weather the storms, and not wind up with someone that's going to bail or leave you feeling abandoned at some point in the experience or in a catastrophe, then email or DM me the word coaching and we will get to work, only if you're truly ready to put the work in actual coaching sessions. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, on the time, space, and maybe even the resources, then at least email or DM me the word transformation, and I'll send the link to my transformation course that'll teach you the same things I teach my clients one-on-one, at your own pace, on your own time, at a resource level more fit for what you can afford. Either way, do something to get in the race. Let's get it.